Before the world tells me who I am, I decide first. Before my past speaks, I speak louder. Before comfort calls my name, I remember my standards. I am not here to try. I am not here to wish. I am not here to talk about change. I am here to become.
84 days, 84 votes.
One identity.
I
am. I woke up in the silence, no noise, no screen, no escape. Just breathe in my body and the promise I made. I have met the old me, I know how he lies. He hides in excuses and waits for compromise. But not today, not this time, I draw the line. I don't move when I feel ready, I move because I said I would. I don't wait for motivation, I build what they never understood. Every breath is a vote, every rep is a vote. Every choice when no one sees me, that is where I grow. Every step is a standard, every day is a sign. I am not chasing a new life, I'm becoming mine. I am the promise I made, I am the fire I face, I am the one who won't break, I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm, I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before, I am becoming more. I am becoming more. I train when the sky is heavy, I walk when the road is cold. I choose the hard thing daily, because comfort made me old. I give when nobody sees it, I stand when others fall. I show up for my people, because this is bigger than all. This is not a challenge, this is not a game. This is the day I stop betraying the person with my name. No alcohol for escape, no cheat meal for my pain. No hiding in the old ways, no feeding the same shame. I don't need perfect, I need true. I don't need easy, I need proof. Every morning I remember, every evening I recover. Every act of kindness tells me I was born to lift another. Every post is accountability, every picture shows a climb. Every day I keep my word, I take my power back in time. And the promise I made, I am the fire I face, I am the one who won't break, I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm, I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before, I am becoming more. I am. No more one day, no more next week. No more waiting for the world to give me what I seek. No more hiding, no more blame. No more building my future with an old identity name. I am disciplined, I am alive, I am awake, I am alive, I am the standard, I am the shift, I am the proof that a life can live.
I am the promise I made, I am the fire I face, I am the one who won't break, I am becoming today. I am the strength in my chest, I am the choice when I'm tested, I am the life I requested, I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm, I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before, I am becoming more.
Become who you say you are.
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 I am
Not trying,
becoming,
not waiting,
becoming,
not broken,
becoming,
not finished.
becoming.
I am.
I
am becoming.
I am is the two strongest words in the universe because anything that follows those two words will be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's talk. So, some people teach coaching, and then some people talk about transformation. And then there are this rare few who live it, they build it, and they lead others through it. Tonight, we're not just introducing a speaker, we are introducing a man who has helped transform lives in more than 40 countries across the world. He's trained over 35,000 coaches and has been recognized amongst the top 10 most influential coaches alongside names like Tony Robbins and Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. He is a founder of School of Life Coaching Academy. He's a dear friend of mine and a builder of coaches, a builder of leaders, but more than that, he is a builder of people. And they say legends are spoken about and myths are remembered. But tonight you get to hear the man, the legend, the mission, and the testimony that started it all. Please help me welcome Barry Schutте.
Thank you, JP. That is beautiful, brother. I actually don't know what to say with an introduction like that. So thanks, Emil, for that beautiful introduction. And welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is such a privilege to actually be able to share my life testimony with all of our amazing followers. And maybe before I start, I just want to share something. You know, for many years, I never spoke about my testimony. For many years, I didn't speak about my past. Until one day I met a guy, an amazing guy, who said to me, brother, share your testimony because it might just be the key that unlocks the prison in someone else's mind. So tonight I want to share with you what I call this thing called life. And it's a journey that I went through that shaped me into the person that I am today. I first want you to understand that for many years, I absolutely hated that part of my life. And it was only when I finally decided to just start embracing it that life really changed. You see, my life was not always sunshine and roses. In fact, it started quite rough. Maybe that's a bit of a lie. It started fantastic and then ended up a bit rough. You see, for the first 8 years of my life was absolutely fantastic. I had a beautiful family, grew up in a loving family, the most amazing dad, the most amazing mom, we 5 brothers, and it was just absolutely fantastic. And then at the age of 8, my life completely changed. And I'll never forget that day. It was a day that my dad sat us down in his bedroom, myself and my 4 brothers, and with tears in his eyes, and I must say, my dad was the strongest man. I've only seen him cry once, and that was that day. When our dad sat us down and said, my sons, I'm really sorry to say, but mom is not coming home. And it wasn't just the fact of, my mom left. Unfortunately, my mom had to make some really tough decisions in her life. And as a result of some of those tough decisions that she made, she ended up getting a 5-year prison sentence. And the day that my mom went to prison was the day that my life completely changed. Up until that day, I saw life in this beautiful color. And the moment that happened, it was like my whole life was just absolutely shattered. Everything I knew, everything I understood was just completely shattered. And I started seeing the horrible side of life instead of the beauty that I was used to for so long. That's also the day when I started realizing just how horrible people really could be. It's actually quite sad. But nevertheless, so by the age of 8, my life completely took a turn. My mom went to prison, and suddenly my dad had to raise the 5 boys by himself. My dad was, he was not a rich man, unfortunately. So it was quite a tough situation for my dad. But you know what? He pushed through. He pushed through. He did an amazing job. He raised 5 really brilliant boys. But it was not easy. At that stage, me being 8 years old, my younger brother, I think, was about 4 years old. And my youngest brother was literally, it was just after he was born. In fact, my youngest brother, he might beat me up for saying this, but my youngest brother actually spent a few months in prison with my mom because he was still breastfeeding. Some people might not know this, but because he was still breastfeeding, he actually went to prison with my mom for a while. And it's strange how even that had such a big impact on me. Here's your new little brother. You just got this new little brother, and suddenly he's taken away from you. And it's all the shambles, and it's such a, the beautiful Afrikaans word says, deur mekaar spil. And life was just turned upside down. But my dad, being a fantastic dad, he ensured that we go visit my mom on a regular basis, and I'll never forget those days. My mom was sent to Kgosi Mampuru, which back then was called Pretoria Central, the female prison in Pretoria Central. And if you've ever been there, it's got these huge wooden doors with this round arch. And as you walk in through those huge wooden doors, you've got all these really big bars in front of you. And then you turn left to go to the visiting area. And then in the visiting area, it's literally exactly like in the movies, where they've got this little glass, this little hooky in a little chair, and you've got this telephone and the glass in front of you, and you've got to chat to your mom. And I'll never forget those days. It was the worst thing ever to sit right in front of my mom as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old child, but I could not reach out and touch her. Looking at her and my brother sitting on the other side, it was just, I cannot begin to explain it to you. And then we would, spend some time visiting her, and then when we walk back out, that's the only time she would actually walk past those big bars as well. And I remember that was probably one of the worst parts for me, because I could see my mom there, I could reach out and touch her, but I was not allowed to. And it's strange how powerful just the sense of touch is for a young child. It's amazing how you would do anything to just touch your mother. If I can just hold her, I think it would have done the world for me. But that was the reality. But nevertheless, we did our visits on a regular basis, and then we would go back to Zanin, and eventually, in order to get closer to Pretoria, because we were living in Zanin, my mom was in Pretoria, that was about a 4.5, 5-hour drive. So my dad moved, he picked up the boys, and we moved to a small town called Naboomspruit, so we could actually be closer to my mom. And it's in Naboomspruit that I really realized just how horrible kids could be, just how horrible people could be. You see, I learned from a very young age in my life that there's something called guilty by association, where you're not invited to other people's birthday parties because you're going to steal my stuff. I know what your mom did. The amount of times people say to me, your mom's a thief, you're going to steal my stuff. It's quite fascinating how our kids could see things and create that reality for themselves. But it left a bit of a mark on me. But that was all okay, because in my mind I said, it's not going to be too long. One day mom's going to come out and we're all going to be a big happy family again. It's all going to be sorted again. But in that time, I started experiencing quite a bit of challenges. And I'm sharing the story from my personal experiences of how I went through that journey. You see, my dad was a really poor man. He was a butcher, only got a really small, tiny little salary as a butcher, living in a tiny town where everybody knew each other. Unfortunately, that wasn't the best thing. But it meant that my dad was really struggling financially. And as a result, we did not have electricity at home. In fact, we barely had water at home. So we grew up with paraffin stoves and paraffin lamps since yay high. And strange enough, until this day, I love the smell of paraffin. But unfortunately, as a child, because we smelled like paraffin, the kids in school used to make fun of me and used to say that I stink. They weren't used to it. These whiteys had no idea. They had no idea. Living with paraffin with a paraffin stove and paraffin lamps is a whole different ball game, guys. I will never forget the mission of ironing your clothes. You've got this really heavy cast iron, and you've got to put it on the the little stove, heat it up, then first take it off and clean it on some newspaper before you can iron your clothes. But that's how we grew up, and that was normal for us. My youngest brother eventually then came back from prison. I think he spent about 6 months in prison with my mom, maybe 4 months. I can't remember exactly. But he eventually came back. And at that stage, my dad found a different job. He started working for Venter trailers. And he started driving these trailers from Naardenspruit to Cape Town back and forth. But then what that unfortunately meant is that my dad was away from home for about a week, maybe just a little bit over a week at a time. And that meant that us kids stayed home alone. My two elder brothers at a stage went to hospital, and I literally had this beautiful privilege of raising my two younger brothers. You know, when my youngest brother came back home, he was still in diapers. And because we were poor, it was not these nice fancy diapers that we have today. I'm talking about the cloth diapers and the steady nappy and the waterproof that goes over it. Some of you won't even know what I'm talking about. But I know exactly what that is. I used to change nappies like it's going out of fashion because I played the role of the mother for my two younger brothers. It was quite a tough time in our lives. And at that stage, I'll never forget this, because my youngest brother was just removed from my mom again, he was quite a difficult toddler. He was quite a difficult baby at that stage. So I ended up being a 9-year-old, maybe 10-year-old at that stage, 9-year-old with a really, or looking after a really difficult child. I'll never forget this. In primary school, we had the most beautiful lady that worked in the school. She worked in the office. We called her Tannie Tilla. And Tannie Tilla always made a point of basically just feeding the poor kids in the school. So Tannie Tilla she made up these little food parcels every single day. It's like a little polystyrene packet with an apple and a sami in there, like I don't know, just any samis that she made for the day. And I distinctly remember that every day, just before the second break, I would get called to the office, and then I would have to go to the office to go fetch my food parcel, which sounds like such a beautiful gift. But I can promise you guys, I absolutely hated it because it meant that I had to walk past all the other kids with my little food parcel. And everyone's looking at you like you are this poor, pathetic little idiot. And strange enough, I never ate that food parcel. You see, my two younger brothers were still in creche. And instead of me just, enjoying that little food parcel, I would actually make a point of taking it home every single day so that I could repack it into a lunchbox for my two younger brothers for their next day at school. And I remember how I actually absolutely hated that. I hated the fact that I have to walk around with this little food parcel, feel like an absolute idiot in front of the rest of the kids, but then, take it home so I can have something for my two kid brothers the next day. It's also there where I really learned just how horrible people could be. You see, unfortunately, at that stage, we lived right next to the church in Naardenspruit. And between our house and the church was just a really thin little wire fence, like a tiny little wire fence. And every day we had this huge drum, and every day I would make fire underneath the drum so I could warm up, heat up water for all of us to take a bath. But unfortunately, that was right next to the parking lot of the church, with just this thin little wire fence between us and the church. And I distinctly remember how the kids in my school would stand on the other side of the fence and make fun of me while I have to make fire to warm up the water for us to go bath at night. Some people, let me rather put it this way, I quite often say that I don't like people. Life is too peoply for me. And I get that that is exactly where it's coming from. I experienced some stuff in life that just, I experienced people in a way that showed me a really horrible part of who they are. All of those things started shaping who I was. But at that stage, I did not care. You see, in my mind, I was just focused on the fact that one day my mom's going to come out of prison again and everything's going to be fine again. She's going to come out of prison and it's just going to be perfect. We're going to be a full family again. Life is going to get better. And I just kept on holding on to that hope. Like that's all that mattered to me. And it's actually pretty cool. At that stage, there was a show on TV called Sonkring. And in Sonkring, there was this lady, the actor's name is actually Annemart van der Merwe. And in this series, Annemart van der Merwe ended up going to prison. And I used to watch that show because, trust me, if you see Annemart van der Merwe, she looks like my mom. I promise you. She even looks like my mom. And I used to watch that show and think, oh man, this is brilliant, you know. Because in that show, I think it's in the second season, the character that Annemart van der Merwe plays actually came out of prison and all her family was standing there waiting for her as she came out of prison. And as a child, that is the image that I held onto in my mind. Like one day she's going to come out of prison, we're going to stand there, she's going to come back home with us and everything's going to be perfect again. Now, that show of Sonkring was actually shot at the prison in Nylstroom. And hear this, guys, it's absolutely freaking amazing. The coolest thing ever then happened. My mom actually got transferred from Pretoria Central to the prison in Nylstroom. And in my mind, it's like, are you kidding me? Like that perfect picture that I had in my mind of my mom coming out of prison again and us being a family, that exact picture was suddenly becoming a reality because my mom has been moved to Nylstroom. Like it's the exact same place, the exact same picture, the exact same prison. And in my mind, it was just like, are you freaking kidding me? And I just held on to that. It's like, I can bulldoze through this because I know life is going to get better again. But unfortunately, it didn't. I'll never forget the day that I asked my dad, I said, Dad, when are we going to go fetch Mom? Shouldn't Mom be out again? You know, isn't she out already? And my dad just looked at me and he said, my son, I'm really sorry. Mom's out, but she's not coming home. I said, but what do you mean she's not coming home? Like for all, you know, it's been a couple of years now. It's been 3 years of raising children. It's been 3 years of working my butt off. It's been 3 years of helping to support this family. It's been 3 years of being a mom to 2 young boys. And like, Mom's coming out. Like, what do you mean she's not going to come out? Or she's not coming home? And he just said, I'm really sorry, my son, but she's out already and she's not coming home. That's the day that my life fell apart for the second time. Now, at that stage, my dad was really poor. We struggled to make ends meet. I started working from a very young age. I started selling black bags. It's actually how it started. We started selling black bags. I made refuse bags. I got some money together and I went to the plastic factory in Naardenspruit and I bought this big roll of refuse bags. And then I made them up into packets of 10, 15, and 20. And I started walking the streets, knocking on the doors and say, would you like to buy some black bags? And I started selling some black bags. And that's actually how I helped support the family, by selling black bags. And it was actually so cool. The owner of the spa back then, whenever someone walked into the spa to buy black bags, he would actually take it back out of their trolley and say, no, man, go buy it from the lighty. There's a lighty in town selling black bags. Just go buy it from the lighty. You see, it was tough times. We were really poor, frowned upon and made fun of, and experienced some really challenges back then. But then the coolest thing ever happened. My mom came back to Naarden-Spruit, and my mom moved back in with us. And finally, my mind said, we can now be a family again. Finally, everything is sorted. Finally, this nightmare, this drama is over. Finally, I can just be a child again. But then, unfortunately, maybe about a month later, my mom left again. And when my mom went back to Dzanine, at first I said that I want to go live with her. Myself and my younger brother, we wanted to go live with her. So we got onto the bakkie, a guy that took her to Dzanine. We got onto the bakkie. We drove all the way to Dzanine. And when we got to Dzanine, we had to drive back with the bakkie to Naarden-Spruit because we had to go fetch the rest of the stuff. But then when we got back to Naarden-Spruit, the guy says, get off the bakkie, you're home. And I said, no, but we have to come fetch the rest of the stuff. And he said, no, brother, I'm supposed to come drop you off. You are home. That's the day that I realized that there's a very thin line between love and hate. Because I went from loving my mother with my absolute everything. My mom and I, we were like this. We were so close. I went from loving her with my absolute everything to hating her with a passion. And unfortunately, that's just the way that I looked at it as a young child. I didn't know better. And that's when I started rebelling against life. I became one of the most difficult teenagers, or is that a teenager? Yeah, that was probably about 12 years old. I became one of the most difficult teenagers you've ever met in your life. I went from being an A-grade student, a top athlete. I did exceptionally well in school. I went from all of that to just becoming the most difficult, hard-headed teenager that you've ever seen. I started rebelling against life. I started rebelling against my dad. I started rebelling against my brothers, rebelling in school. I just became absolutely impossible. And then eventually at a very young age, it's probably 14 or 15, I ended up hitchhiking to Cape Town. Never been to Cape Town in my life before then. I hitchhiked to Cape Town. I just left home. I just said, that's it, I'm done. I left and I ended up on the streets of Cape Town as a crack and a heroin addict. Believing that life owed me so much. Believing that life is so bloody unfair and that, everything that happened to me, life was just disgusting. Life was just unfair. And that was a tough time of my life. You see, I started replacing that pain that I felt on the inside with substances. I started cutting myself like so many kids still do. It's scary how many horrible scars I've got on because I started cutting myself as a youngster. And people don't understand that, but every time I cut myself here and I could feel the pain here, it's like I didn't feel it here. I can't explain it to you. Like it made it easier. I'm honest, guys, I think that saved my life. It really helped me to get rid of that emotional pain. So I started cutting myself just to kind of deal with the realities of everything that I've been through. You see, for so many years now, I ended up being poor. I ended up being laughed at. I had to work my butt off as a child to help support the family. I had to raise 2 kids. I had to worry about nappies and sick kids. And I mean, it's actually so beautiful. My 2 kid brothers even made me Mother's Day cards when I was in primary school, because they'd be in the creche and the teacher says, we're going to make Mother's Day cards. And they go, well, My mom's not at home. And then, the teacher will say, well, who does this for you? And who does that for you? And they'll say, well, it's Barry. And they'll go, well, make him a card. So they used to make me little Happy Barry Day cards. I experienced the horrible part of people pointing at you and laughing at you and making you feel like you're not good enough. The children that I had to go face in school the very next day, laughing at you. And this is at church. It's like, isn't that fascinating? I used to hate a Sunday night. The evening service at church was the worst for me, because that's the time that I had to go, make a fire to warm up the water. And the kids would sit there and laugh at me and then call me names the next day. I was molested as a child by the adults who were supposed to come check in on us to come make sure that we're okay. Adult, not adults. But you know what? I ended up just taking it so that my two kid brothers didn't have to. Pardon my French, but I fucking hated it. I hated it. And it's still difficult for me to talk about that. It's so many years later. That's the one part that I still find difficult to talk about. So I justified my horrible behavior. I justified rebelling against life. I justified the fact that I ran away. I justified becoming a crack and a heroin addict. I justified living on the street. I kept on saying, it's not my fault. It's not me. It's life that did this to me. It was my mother. It was my father. It's life. It's the teachers. It's the kids. It was everyone else's fault. It was not me. I justified it. And it shaped my reality. It shaped my identity. That is who I started. It formed my identity that says you're not good enough. It formed my identity that says this is all you'll ever achieve in life. This is all you will ever be in life. But then one night, I had the most incredible experience. I was sleeping in a BP garage. The guys at the BP garages were really cool. Well, at the garages, in winter time, they would allow you to just, go get some shut-eye in one of those hookies. And there was this homeless drunk sitting right next to me. And he looked at me and he said, brother, tell me, what is your story? You're way too young to be here. And I told him this whole soppy story of everything that went wrong in my life, everything that, shaped my destiny, justifying why I was this horrible crack and heroin addict, justifying why I was living on the street. And at the end of that whole shebang, he looked at me and he said, well, Barry, it is clear that you have already met all the demons, which means none of them should scare you anymore. So what is your problem? And I said, but brother, haven't you heard the story? He says, I heard your story. I heard exactly what you said. But it simply means that you've met all the demons. It simply means that you should not be scared anymore. It simply means that you've got nothing to lose. And if you've got nothing to lose, what is the reason that you're sitting here? You've got nothing to lose. He said to me, brother, if you could survive all of that and still be okay, imagine what else you can achieve in life. And I said to him, but how can I achieve anything? I said, look at me. I am the biggest pathetic loser that's ever walked the face of earth. I don't have an education. My highest standard passed was standard 6, grade 8. My highest standard passed, didn't finish school. I had no education. I had no money. I had a drug addiction and I was living on the street. I'm like, what value can I bring to this world? And he looked at me and he said to me, well, you are one of the most successful drug-addicted street children that I know. He said to me, who do you know that is as great at being a drug-addicted street child as you? He says, you made a great success of that. And he said, there's no difference Making a success of one thing and making a success of another thing is the exact same thing. It simply means that you need to repeat the right behavior over and over and over again until you get the desired outcome. Consistency creates the outcome. And he said to me, Barry, you had to consistently make a plan to remain a drug addict. You did that exceptionally well. So you're one of the most successful drug-addicted street children that I've ever met. I said, well, that's another way of looking at it. And then he said the words that absolutely changed my life. He said to me, brother, the secret to change lies in investing all your energy into building the future instead of fighting the past. He says, your past is not your fault, but your future is your responsibility. Where you come from, you can't help, but where you're going, you determine. And then he asked me, he said, instead of asking yourself, what have you lost? Ask yourself, what have you gained? What have you actually gained from that experience? And I thought about it long and hard. And I realized that there's one thing that I've gained is that I've learned how to keep on keeping on. I've learned how to always make a plan. If you know me, you'll know I always make a plan. You see, I've never met a druggie who says, I can't afford another hit. They make a plan. I've never met a man living on the street that's not one of the hardest workers. We think people living on the streets are lazy. They are the hardest workers you've ever met in your life. They work from the moment they wake up till the moment they go to bed. They don't take breaks. They don't have weekends off. They just keep on keeping on. And I said, well, I've learned how to work exceptionally hard. I've learned how to keep on keeping on. I've learned and I've gained how to make a plan. It made me tenacious. It made me strong. It gave me a gift that a privileged life will never be able to give you. And that guy said to me, so take everything that you've learned and start applying it in your life right now, because it is not too late, brother. That was the day that I decided this is not how my life is going to end. That's the day that I decided I'm going to turn my life around. You see, I had a major identity shift. Up until that day, my identity said, why me? From that day, my identity started saying, try me. Up until that day, my identity said, I'm not good enough. That day, my identity became, if I can survive this, imagine what else I can do. If I can go through all of this without breaking, imagine what else I can achieve in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. It wasn't sunshine and roses. I first turned my life around. I started just knocking on doors. It's actually that guy that helped me, because I said, but what is it that I can do? And he says, instead of asking what you can't, stop focusing on what you can't do and start focusing on what you can do. And he said to me, what have you done successfully in the past? And I said, well, I've sold black bags before. And he says, then go do that. You go do that. So I started by selling black bags again. That's actually how I started turning my life around. I started selling some black bags. I met a bloke by the name of Muhammad in Cape Town. He was actually one of the very first doors that I knocked on to sell black bags. Knocked on his door. I said, do you want to sell black bags? He says, no, I still got some black bags. And he shut the door. 2 days later, because he was closest to me, I knocked on his door again. Do you want to buy black bags? He said, no. And he shut the door in my face. Around about the fourth or the fifth time that I knocked on the door, this guy started chasing me away. He's like, how many times do I have to tell you I don't want black bags? And I said to him, brother, you never said you don't want black bags. You said you still have black bags. And in my mind, I reckoned I'm going to be here the moment you run out, and then you're going to buy it from me. And this guy got this smile on his face. He started laughing. He's like, "Who the hell are you?" He says, "I want to tell me your story." And I told him my story. I said, this is everything that happened. And then I met this guy in the BP garage, and he shared this with me. And he shared with me, he said, "Barry, the secret to change lies in investing all your energy into building the future instead of fighting the past. And I've decided I'm going to start building the future. And this is all I know." And that guy said, "That's brilliant." And so I asked him, I said, "Could you maybe help me out?" I said, "Look at me, I look horrible. I'm trying to sell black bags, but, I look like crap, so people don't want to allow me close to their doors." I said, "Could you maybe just bail me out with a decent set of clothes?" He said, "No." Or I said, can I do some work for you and you pay me?" He said, "No." I said, "Can I do some work for you and you just, you pay me with a set of clothes?" He said, "Now you're talking." He said, "That I'll do." He said, "I'm not going to give you money because I know what you're going to go do with the money. But I'll give you some clothes. You can go do some work for me and I'll pay you with a set of clothes." So that weekend, I just cleaned out his warehouse. He ran a printing company in Cape Town. And I just cleaned the warehouse and he paid me with a set of clothes, just a jean and a proper t-shirt and tackies, so that I could actually look decent while I'm selling the black bags. But then I kept on knocking on his door and I kept on asking, "Could you maybe give me a job?" And he kept on saying, "I'm not going to give you a job. I'm not going to pay you a salary." And eventually I said to him, "I tell you what, how about I will go sell your printing in town and then you just pay me a commission?" And he said, "Absolutely, I will gladly do that for you." And here's an interesting thing that then happened, guys. I started outselling all these salespeople by miles. Not because I'm a great salesman, but because I was so used to people saying no to me. I was so used to people chasing me away. I begged on street for how long? To me, it was nothing. When someone says no to you, to me, it means nothing. Like it's water off a duck's back. So I outworked all of his salespeople. And I started building myself up, and I started building myself up, and I started building myself up. And eventually, I did really good for myself. I did really, really good for myself. And then I relapsed. The moment I had enough money in my pocket, I relapsed and was right back to square one. And then I built myself up again. And then I relapsed again. And then I built myself up again. And then I relapsed the third time. And every time that you've got to do it all over again, it just gets more difficult. It just gets more difficult to get off that crap. And I finally realized I can't carry on like that. Today, it is 25 years later. I have been clean for 25 years. I haven't touched crack and heroin. I haven't been back on the streets. I've completely changed my life around. I'm still an uneducated addict. Uneducated in the world's sense. But you see, I never said to myself, I cannot afford to study. I said I could not afford to get a degree. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference. I actually started dating this lady many years back. She studied marketing. And back then, anyone could just walk into varsity. You didn't need those little cards. She was enrolled. She studied marketing. And I went to class with her. She got the degree. And I got the knowledge. And even though I don't have a piece of paper that says congratulations, you can never take the knowledge away from me. I used that to start really focusing in marketing. In fact, one of my first claims to fame in the marketing arena was Heelys, the shoes with the wheels in the heel. I met the most amazing man ever. He played such a big role in my life. His name's Mike Carr. He unfortunately passed away a few years back. I met Mike Carr, just the most amazing man. And myself and Mike brought Heelys into the country, made a massive success of Heelys, but unfortunately it was just a little bit of a fad, and then we lost that again. Thereafter, I eventually opened my own advertising agency because I've studied marketing. I started working for Caxton at first, the newspapers. I learned everything that I could about marketing and media, and then opened up my own advertising agency. And it's fascinating enough, it's while I was running my own advertising agency that I started studying NLP to become a better marketer. And then while I was studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I did a course with a wonderful woman. She actually now lives in the same town as me. And I did my first coaching certification with her. Back then she was known as Kim Eichel. Today she's known as Kim, I can't remember what her surname is right now. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kim, if you ever watch this. But Kim had such a beautiful impact on my life. It's at the Kim Coach Academy. That's where I did my first certification. And that's when I realized that I should not be in advertising. That's when I realized that coaching is actually what I should be doing. So I literally gave my advertising agency away and I moved into the coaching space. This is now almost 15 years ago. And I've never looked back. Today, 25 years later, I've certified over 35,000 coaches. I've worked with some of the world's greatest leaders. I've worked with, you name it. I've done talks and seminars worldwide. I could never, as a child, imagine that this could have been my life. Never. You see, guys, life gave me a few hard knocks. Life showed me the most difficult parts of life. It showed me how you should not be living a life. And it gave me an understanding for why some people eventually give up. But I finally realized that the pain that I experienced was actually preparation. And it is absolutely everything that happened in my past that prepared me for the beautiful life that I'm living today. It prepared me to become a phenomenal coach with the world's understanding for people. It gives me an empathy and understanding for my clients that I think most coaches will never understand. And it gives me an appreciation for life. And when I say to you that I know you can live a better life, I know you can have anything, achieve anything, create anything, be anything. I say that because I know it's true. But I first had to shift my identity from I am not good enough to I have survived so much that there's nothing that can stop me. I had to change my identity from why me to try me. I had to change my identity from who am I to who am I not. Like, how can the world not listen to me? And the day I made that massive identity shift in my own life, that's the day that my life changed. You see, here's the thing that I need you to understand. You will never reach, or we don't reach our goals. We reach our identity. You will never be more than your highest identity of self. If you keep on telling yourself, I'm not good enough, congratulations, you are right. If you keep on telling yourself that I cannot get out of this tough situation, you are right. If you tell yourself, if your I am says I am not good enough, I am uneducated, I am pathetic, I am fat, I am poor, I am struggling. If that is your I am, that will always be your reality. I want to beg you tonight, if you want your life to change your I am, change your identity, change the way you speak about yourself, and stop doubting your worth. Can I please I beg of you, please stop doubting your worth? You see, for many years, I believed that I don't have enough value to offer. And you know what's really fascinating? In my coaching career, I've met some of the most amazing people in this world. Some of the most amazing people. I've booked my seat. I've done my stint with Tony Robbins. I did one of the workshops with him. I met him personally, shook his hand. It was one of the coolest experiences in my life because he's like one of my most amazing idols ever. I've worked with some amazing leaders in the Mandela family. I've met some of the world's most amazing coaches. But who changed my life? I want you to think about this. It was not the gurus. It was not the coaches. It was not the pastors. It was not the business owners. It was a homeless drunk. That homeless drunk was the best, most amazing coach that I've ever met in my life. You see, even though life does not see value in that man, even though life might judge or question that man never lost his value. He changed my life. And because of him changing my life, the ripple effect is it has changed hundreds of thousands of lives. Out of the 35,000, probably closer to 36,000 coaches that I've certified by now, every single life that they change is a ripple effect of the work that a homeless drunk did with me one night. And you want to doubt your value? I don't care what your beliefs are, whatever your religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs might be. Whatever the higher being is or might be, the higher being does not need you to be perfect to use you. It does not need you to be educated. It does not need you to be beautiful or stunning or fantastic or well known. It just needs you to be willing. You see, as human beings, no matter what we go through in life, we have never lost our value. Tonight, I really need you to hear that. I don't care what happened to you. I don't care what you went through. I don't care how unfair life might have been, or all the challenges that you went through. None of those things degraded your value. In fact, every single one of them made you more valuable. So take that back. Take back your identity. Take back your I am. And instead of saying, I am broken because of all the things I went through, I want you to start saying, I am powerful because of all the things I went through. Instead of saying, I am sad and depressed of everything I had to go through, I want you to start saying, I am unstoppable because of everything that I've gone through. I beg of you, just for a moment today, say, today is the beginning of the rest of my life. And where I come from is not my fault. But where I go and where I end up, that is my responsibility. You see, guys, I am the author of my life. And it took me years to realize that. The pen is in my hand. I decide how that story is going to end. And it is not over until it is over. And yes, life is going to clap you a couple of times again. You know, I always say, be very kind to people on your way up, because you will meet them again on your way down. Life is full of ups and downs. But do not confuse a moment in life with life itself. It's sometimes just a moment in life. And maybe that really tough thing that you are going through in your life right now, maybe that is the exact thing that is busy preparing you for the greatness that you still need to achieve. Maybe that's exactly what you are supposed to go through. Maybe it's preparation, not pain. They say, you know, hindsight is 20/20 vision. Looking back at my life, there is absolutely nothing that I would change, because it made me the person that I am today. I want to beg you, please, change your identity into I am unstoppable, I am brilliant, I am worthy, I am kind, I am deserving. I did not get this far to just get this far. I am the author of my own life. I am the one that's going to turn this boat around. I am the one that will get the outcome. I am the person that my future desperately needs. I am the man that my family needs. I am the husband that my wife needs. I am the father that my children needs. I am the mother that my husband and my children. I am unstoppable. And when you change your identity and you uplift your I am, you will notice how your life simply follows. Because the words we speak carries weight. I want to beg of you, start speaking life into your life. Stop speaking death into your life. And that is why we created the I Am 84 challenge. That is why we are on this journey of the I Am challenge. It is about helping people realigning their identity to the goal that they actually want in life, so we can stop suffering as victims of everything that went wrong in my past and start becoming a victor, realizing that everything I went through was just preparation. I'm not here to motivate you tonight. I can't motivate you. But I do want to ask you, please notice your own value. Go have a look in the mirror tonight and look at that person staring back at you. And you say to that man or that woman, you just say, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of absolutely everything that you've gone through in life, and you're still okay. I'm proud of you for still showing up every single day. And I know that life is not the way I want it right now, but it's not the way it used to be anymore. Look at that person in the eyes and just say, I am ready to finally step into the person that I've always been destined to be. And then watch your life change. In NLP, we've got this beautiful presupposition. It says all amazing and excellent achievements have a strategy and a structure, and for that reason can be learned. And if one human has done it, it means it is humanly possible. If I could do it, then so can you. You don't have to start from where I was at. Start from where you are right now. Change your identity. Change your I am. And notice how your life completely transforms. Part of this beautiful new I am that we've launched, this I am challenge, and go check it out. For those of you that's not part of our I am community yet, please go have a look at it. I am 84. JP will share it with you guys in the comment sections. go check out the I Am 84. It's an 84-day challenge to completely transform your mind, body, and purpose. So we can realign that identity with or shape or create that identity that you so desperately need to actually achieve your goals and dreams, so that you can become the person that gives you that beautiful outcome. I'm also taking a group of 50 people on a beautiful, beautiful journey. I'm certifying the next 50, I can't say the next, it's my brand new certification course that we've just launched. It is a certified identity coach. And starting on Monday, the 2nd of June, I'm going to take a group of 20 coaches through the most amazing, life-changing experience, where I'm not just going to certify you as an identity coach, but I'm actually going to teach you the principles and the structures that you can actually apply in your own life, so you can upgrade your own identity, so you can match your identity to the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. Because like I said, guys, you do not achieve your goals. We achieve our identity. This is what the world needs. We need more really committed people who goes out into this world and starts shaping people's identities instead of just setting more goals. Think about this. Everyone sets a new goal. Information is not enough. We all have the information. Guys, think about this. Every single one of you, I'm pretty sure, every single one of you want to be in better physical shape. Don't answer me, just answer yourself. Most of us are saying, I'd love to be in better physical shape. Yet every single one of us have the knowledge. We know exactly what to do in order to get into better physical shape. You know you should eat less. You know you should move more. But having the information and the knowledge will never give you that goal unless your identity says, I am healthy and in shape. People don't need more goals. They need better identities. So if you're interested to join me on this beautiful 20-week journey, where I will certify you as an identity coach and then place you directly inside of our own network, our own I Am network, as one of our certified coaches, so you can actually help other people transform their own identities, that would be beautiful. If that's you and you are interested, feel free to just click on one of the links somewhere below. Chat to one of our consultants. That's not really what tonight is about. Tonight's just about me sharing out of my heart why we actually started this. This is the fuel behind it. This is the heart behind it. Because I've experienced the other side of life. I think maybe that's the reason why I'm so driven and so focused to help people see the light. I really hope that something of tonight resonated with you. And I really hope that some of the words that I shared tonight maybe just like slightly directs your life into a different direction. And I really hope that you absolutely fall in love with the person that you meet on the other side. Thank you for allowing me to share this from the bottom of my heart. It was not easy. It's the first time ever that I share my testimony online. It's not easy having this discussion while looking at a screen. But beautiful things happen when we step out of our comfort zones. And maybe it's about time that I also step out of my comfort zone and share my testimony with more people, because it might just be the prison that unlocks, or the key that unlocks the prison in someone else's mind. So if you got any value from tonight, please just send me a thumbs up, send me a thank you, just so I know that, this has been valuable to you. And then share it with someone else. And if you are ready to absolutely transform your life, Chat to us. We've got some amazing options available. Let's connect and let's help you live your best life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's all I have to share for tonight. I can't say you've been fantastic because I haven't even seen you. But thank you so much for allowing me to just be vulnerable and sharing my story from my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. JB, back to you.
Thank you for opening up and sharing this with us. It's I know it's not always an easy thing and putting it out online. So we really take off our hat to you and always be inspiring people every day like you do. Guys, I'm going to play you our new theme song of I Am. We're ending the show right now. Have a listen. It's 4 minutes and it just gives you some boost.
Before the world tells me who I am, I decide first. Before my past speaks, I speak louder. Before comfort calls my name, I remember my standards. I am not here to try. I am not here to wish. I am not here to talk about change. I am here to become.
84 days, 84 votes.
One identity. I am. I woke up in the silence, no noise, no screen, no escape. Just breathe in my body and the promise I made. I have met the old me, I know how he lies. He hides in excuses and waits for compromise. But not today, not this time, I draw the line. I don't move when I feel ready. I move because I said I would. I don't wait for motivation. I build what they never understood. Every breath is a vote, every rep is a vote. Every choice when no one sees me, that is where I grow. Every step is a standard, every day is a sign. I am not chasing a new life, I'm becoming mine. I am the promise I made. I am the fire I face. I am the one who won't break. I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm. I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before. I am becoming more. I am becoming more. I train when the sky is heavy. I walk when the road is cold. I choose the hard thing daily because comfort made me old. I give when nobody sees it. I stand when others fall. I show up for my people because this is bigger than all. This is not a challenge. This is not a game. This is the day I stop betraying the person with my name. No alcohol for escape, no cheat meal for my pain. No hiding in the old ways, no feeding the same shame. I don't need perfect, I need true. I don't need easy, I need proof. Every morning I remember, every evening I recover. Every act of kindness tells me I was born to lift another. Every post is accountability, every picture shows a climb. Every day I keep my word, I take my power back in time. And the promise I made, I am the fire I face. I am the one who won't break. I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm. I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before. I am becoming more. I am. No more one day, no more next week. No more waiting for the world to give me what I seek. No more hiding, no more blame. No more building my future with an old identity name. I am disciplined, I am alive, I am awake, I am alive, I am the standard, I am am the shift.
I am the proof
That a life
can live. I am the promise I made. I am the fire I face. I am the one who won't break. I am becoming today. I am the strength in my chest. I am the choice when I'm tested. I am the life I request. I am becoming today. I am the voice in the storm. I am the reason I'm born. I am not who I was before. I am becoming more.
become who you say you are.
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 I am
Not trying,
becoming,
not waiting,
becoming,
not broken,
becoming,
not finished.
becoming.
I am
I am.
becoming.